Well, if you've heard any pop music in the last 10 years or any pop music from the 1980s, it is likely that you have heard some synthesized sounds. And these synthesized sounds can come in many different forms, although we break a lot of them down into three categories. We have a synth bass, a synth pad, and a synth lead sound. And the synth bass functions very much like a regular bass part would if it was going to be played by an electric bass. It's providing that harmonic foundation. It's on the low end, kind of just provides kind of the base for everything, bass, I mean B-A-S-E, for everything to kind of rest on. And again, provides that strength on the low end. The second kind of sound is the pad sound. And the pad is usually something that is more sustained. It has what we call a slow attack sometimes, where it doesn't always hit you right off the bat. I mean, sometimes it does, but sometimes it kind of fades in, fades out. And it's usually going to be more chordal, more accompaniment parts, kind of in the background, kind of providing some ambiance and texture to the piece and giving it the harmonic structure that a typical accompaniment part on a piano or a guitar might. And then the third kind of important synthesized sound is a synth lead. And a synth lead sound is going to be more melodic. It's going to usually play some kind of melodic motif, which is like a short musical phrase, or some kind of tune that's recognizable. That will help you to, it'll be usually something that comes back and recurs, and so it's memorable. And so those are the three basic types of synth sounds that everybody needs to know. We're going to dive into synthesis a lot more in the second half of this class, in second semester. But I wanted to give you at least a basic understanding of some of the synth sounds and get you guys at least experimenting with it right now. So let's go ahead and dive into BandLab now, and I'll show you how to find these sounds. All right. So, sorry, the first thing I'm gonna share with you is the synth bass sound. All right, so you're gonna click on instruments, of course. And then if you go down to your instrument window down here, you can see these categories right here. Okay, let's actually start with a pad. All right, and so there's lots of different pads. If you click on the different drop-down menus here, we have, let's try warm pad. Let's see what that sounds like. One example of a pad sound. Let's go to Dreamy Bells. A lot of these, when you hold them down, they change tonal characteristics over time. Okay, let's try something different. Evolve pad. When I hold it down, it changes, it kind of changes shape, it evolves, okay, as it says. Soft pad. A little too soft for our purposes here. And let's look at the swell. Yeah, so you can go through these and kind of pick out your favorite. I'm going to click on this Evolve pad. And for this assignment, it's always good to have an idea of what your chord progression is going to be, that your structure of chords, and that will give your composition some direction. Now, the four basic chords in the key of C, the most basic key of all, are C, G, F, and A minor. Okay, we've played all four of these chords, but just to give you some review. This is the C chord, you play Z, C, and B. The G chord is here, B, M, and period. A minor. N, comma, and Q. And N, and comma for the F chord. And notice they're all white keys, all right? And the key of C, you should know, generally uses the notes that are all the white keys. That's what makes it so easy. You don't need to worry about figuring out all the different sharps and flats. So any note you play is going to pretty much work. Now, there are some notes that are going to work better than others, but you just know that when you're improvising and making up melodies in the key of C, using all the white keys, are pretty much any of those keys, excuse me, are going to be at your disposal. All right, so let's start with coming up with the chord progression. And I'm going to have a 4-measure chord progression. And let's do C, F, A minor, G. You could go anywhere. You could go A minor, F, G, C. You could do G, A minor, F, C. You could do C, G, A minor, F. But C, F, A minor, G is what I've selected. All right, we'll keep the tempo pretty fast here at 120. All right, here we go with C, F, A minor, and G. All right, and now I can just kind of loop this, assuming this goes until bar 5 here, yeah. For 16 full bars. And then at the 17th bar, I'm going to just hold out my C chord. All right, that works. Now we're going to add in our bass part here. So now I'm going to click on synth bass. Again, you have lots of different options here. And let's see. Let's look at the Moog bass. Moog. Moog is an instrument manufacturer. Very famous synth instruments going back, I think, to the 60s or 70s. So I'm going to play 8 notes in the bass part here. Oops, what I just did was I changed my first instrument. So I need to go back, change my pad to the Evolve pad, add a new instrument, synth bass. Choose my Moog bass. It's going to be my pattern right now. All right, let's give this a go here. Click on record. Choose it. All right, go ahead and start recording now. Of course, I could have just done that in 4 bars and looped it, but in case I wanted to do a little bit of variety in my bass line, playing it the whole time obviously gives you the flexibility to do that. All right, so all right, and before I get my lead in here, I'm going to go ahead and build my percussion part right here, our drum machine. And now we're going to go ahead and use this default 808 kit. The 808 kit, very commonly used electronic drum machine sound. All right, I'm gonna change up my pattern though, because I'm not sure if I really want to do this exactly. I'm gonna do what's called 4 on the floor, which is putting a kick every beat. Changing up the hi-hat pattern now to just make it a little more unique, so it's not just straight 8s the whole time. You can add like an open hi-hat. A clap track. I think that works. So I'm going to go ahead and put this, oops, here. But I don't want it to start right at the beginning. In fact, I don't even think I want it to start until bar 9 here. In my bass, I'll probably start at bar 5. That's starting. And we're going to extend our drums until the end here, till bar 17. And then we just want to create a little crash here at the end, like we normally do, to give our project a final. All right. So now the thing we're missing, of course, is our melody. We need some kind of melody to fill out the rest of the song. And when you're coming up with a melody, again, like I mentioned, you can use just all the white keys when you're playing in the key of C, using the chords C, F, G, and A minor. Put those in any kind of order, and the notes that are in the white keys will work. One thing that I was told a long time ago when you're coming up with a melody is to say something important, say it again, and then say it in a different way. All right, so that can kind of guide the way that you are, kind of structuring your melody here. You want it to be something that is recognizable, so it's not just da 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 for 16 bars. You want it to maybe jump around a little bit instead of just going from note to note, kind of up and down the scale. Da 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 bum, kind of just like jumping around a little bit, so we create some musical interest. So I'm going to go ahead and add my final track now, and I'm going to choose a synth lead. And a lead again is going to be your main melody. Oh, let's look at this. Let's see, lots of different options here, of course. Let's look at big synth lead. Take it up the octave. You want your lead usually be high, higher than this. So let's go ahead. I'll probably let the first 4 bars just be pad, and then I'll probably let the bass kind of take over at bar 5, and then I'm going to bring in the lead with the drum sound at bar 9. So let's let's just let the whole thing play so we kind of feel that groove and start to bring in something here. All right, going back to the beginning. All right, nothing too inspired there, but I'm just kind of throwing out some ideas. I did record a couple notes in here just at the beginning, just to make sure that it was working. So I just want to make sure those don't actually end up in my recording. All right, so now let's see. All right. Nothing that's going to change the world musically, but it'll at least you got an idea to kind of see what can happen when we just kind of throw down some ideas. And so we got our pad up here that starts the song. We bring in the bass, then we bring in our drums and our lead, and that takes us into bar 17. So just to get yourselves used to hearing what these sounds sound like, putting some basic chords down and creating a bass line that kind of falls along with those chords. Come up with your chord progression first, so you're not just kind of guessing. You can even write it down. Remember, you do have a lyrics and notes area right here. If you just want to write in C, F, A minor, G, or whatever, like to help you as you're recording, it's kind of a good idea to, kind of guide and just make a 4-bar loop, repeat that, and then bring in your lead. And again, this is going to be up to you to determine what you want your lead to sound like, not just the tone qualities of the actual instrument itself, but what kind of melody you want to create. Okay, you can use the method I taught you of just like state an idea, state it again, and then tweak it and make it unique the third time, extend it maybe. Up to you. You get to be the decider there. Okay, and go ahead and add your teacher as your collaborator, and you'll be good to go for this assignment. Thank you.